I step, something in my jeans. And FOI, you know that's the team, huh?
Peace. This is your brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. Peace. This is brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. Today I got me a young brother by the name of brother Jimmie X. Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam, sir.
The first question I'd like to ask you is, tell me a little bit about your background. What were you before you was brother Jimmie X? What was your life like before you came across the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Yes, sir. So before I was brother Jimmie X, I was a party animal, man. Like, I would go to any and every party that I could get my hands on. If my friends were going out, I'm going out with them. When I found Islam the first time, I tried to go the Orthodox way, and it didn't feel right to me. So I went back to being a lost found, and I went to college. So when I went to college, I became even more of a party animal. And it was wild, man, because even though I partied a lot, I never, did any of the wild stuff at the party. I just like being around people.
Yes, sir. Do you ever because some people watching this right now, we see you with the bow tie on, we see the discipline that's in the Nation of Islam, especially with the FOI. Were you not scared of being too disciplined, especially as being a young man, joining and coming into the Nation of Islam?
No, sir. A little background. I've always wanted to have an organization of my own, of disciplined men or young men. So when I told my mom about it, she said, only disciplined people I know, I ain't gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna just take you to them. And when she took me to him and I seen all the men in uniform and thing like that, I said, well, if this is what I'm gonna do, as far as being too disciplined, you can never be too disciplined in a world like this, brother, because this world requires a lot of discipline.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. How were you introduced? Like you just said, your mom showed you, your mom took you to them. Is that how you was first introduced to the teachings?
No, sir. I was actually introduced to the teachings in college. There was a brother by the name of Brother Kadeem. He had a group at our college campus called Brother to Brother. And, we would go around in suits and ties and things like that. And before, I did not know that was, FOI attire. I just seen that the brothers was going around in suits. They would go to classes in suits and things like that. And I would ask them, well, who are y'all? And of course, they didn't say we are the FOI. They said we are brother to brother. So I went straight to the leader, Brother Kadeem. I said, brother, how do I become a brother? He said, now, do you want to be brother to brother, or do you want to be an actual brother? And my answer was an actual brother. He said, well, you got to go to Muhammad's mosque to be an actual brother. But to join the group, you just got to sign up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You spoke earlier about, you was a party animal and things of that sort. Some people that may be looking at the mosque and they don't know nothing about the Nation of Islam. They may not see the brothers having any, quote unquote fun. Were you, like, being in the Nation of Islam, do you still have fun or even more fun than you had when you was, partying?
Yes, sir. The difference between that fun and this fun is, that fun was destructive. This fun is more of like building yourself. Of course, we don't do any drinking or smoking or anything like that. But when you come into the knowledge of who you are, and in the Nation of Islam, when you come into that brotherhood, going out with the brothers, going out to eat, to the movies, it's the same fun, but you're keeping it, as our Supreme Captain would say, you're keeping it Messiah. You're not going out chasing women. You're not going out lusting after women or lusting after drugs and alcohol and things like that. You genuinely going out to have a good time. and to enjoy the people that you're around.
Yes, sir. You just talked about, the lusting over women and things of that sort. Because, as young men, especially a lot of Black young men that, get caught up into this world of Satan's world, we get caught up into that lust and, that fornication and things of that sort. Before the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, were you caught up in that lustful life with the party life?
No, sir. Before the Nation of Islam, I wasn't a lustful person. I just like being around people. And I mean, there were women around. I can't say I didn't have any women, but I wasn't just lusting for pleasure. Because even before then, I knew that you can't get full pleasure just in a woman. It's only temporary with a woman, especially if you're lusting after her.
Yes, sir. You just talked about pleasure, temporary pleasure. Can you get pleasure being in the Nation of Islam? And what does that pleasure look like?
Yes, sir. So you get pleasure in the Nation of Islam by learning who the true and living God is. And what I mean by that, when you associate yourself, or when you coming into the Nation of Islam, you get a lot of love from everyone, whether it be the brotherhood, the sisterhood, or even the minister of that mosque. So to your heart, that's pleasure. For people who have never had that, that is all that they've ever wanted. You can be one day into the mosque and that will be your heart pleasure. Learning different things in the mosque, like the diameter of the earth, the weight of the earth. That's mental pleasure, because you're supposed to learn something every single day, because there's too much to learn out here to not learn something every single day. That's mental pleasure. Physical pleasure, when you go out with the final call and you see your people smiling and, you get compliments. Oh, I love seeing young brothers out here. That's physical pleasure, because now you're happy. It's physical and emotional pleasure, so it's a different kind of pleasure. It's not a evil or a lustful pleasure. It's more of a healing pleasure than it is anything.
Yes, sir. You just talked about like learning the diameter of the earth and, learning the teachings. A lot of people, especially as growing up in public school, we don't see the purpose of learning. So what were the benefits for you of the learning in the Nation of Islam? And was that different than the learning that you got in public school or college?
Man, yes, sir. It was much different, Brother Aidan, because, in school, man, it's when you're in that public school, it's boring. You got all your friends there. They not trying to learn, so you not trying to learn. You of course you have your women there and you looking at them and they learning. They not worried about you, man. So with that being said, when you're learning in the Nation of Islam, it's just like you're completely focused, because at that point you really can't really goof off, because now you have to deal with grown men. You're in a classroom with grown men, men younger than you, men older than you. You can be in a class with children and they're learning the same thing you're learning. And, it's like when you learn that kind of stuff, it does something to your confidence and your self-esteem. When you learn that, the original man is the Asiatic Black man, the maker on the cream of the planet Earth. And you look at yourself in the mirror, you start thinking like, am I really the cream of the planet Earth? And as far as learning, man, there's nothing more that you can teach your children, or that you can even teach a grown man, 20, 30, 50, 60, even 80 years old. This teaching is universal. You can come in the nation and learn at 80 years old, and it will build your confidence and you'll feel like a new man.
Yes, sir. You were just talking about, the confidence that it does for you. Some people watching this may say, I get confidence from, being around my niggas. That's their language. Excuse my language. I get confidence with, rolling around with the gat, rolling around, with the pistol. So what would you say about that? The confidence that you get in the nation versus the confidence you can get in the streets?
So that's another thing, man. When I was in college, I was around a lot of street people, a lot of them, like Crips, Bloods, you can name it. And they come from different places. And of course they rode with pistols, they were pistol worshipers. But the confidence that you get from the nation, that you, like the minister told us, you fight like hell because you only get one life. That power itself is going to push you and build your confidence, because now you know that if I was to be taken by a pistol, there's nothing else for me. I can't walk around and carry a pistol, because if I can't pull this pistol fast enough, I'm dead. Or if I carry a pistol, I already have that bad emotion around me, because now I'm thinking, and excuse my language, I'm thinking every nigga looking at me wrong. Or if he look over here one more time, I'm a pop. So now you having these bad thoughts and these evil thoughts. And it can be a brother that look like you and I. It can be your older brother. It can be a brother that's, like the minister, up in his 80s and 70s. And you just thinking, man, if he try to cut me in line, I'm a pop him. So that confidence versus having confidence in the nation, you have a universal brotherhood behind you. That when you go out with your brothers, they not out here trying to die. You will never hear a brother say, I'm ready to die when I go out here. Because the brother will say, well, I ain't going with you, brother. I'm ready to live. So that confidence, man, is different when you know for sure that this brother has your back no matter what situation you're in.
Yes, sir. How do you feel confident and protected, in the Nation of Islam? Because the Nation of Islam, that we don't carry arms, and obviously, we don't sell narcotics or anything like that. And a lot of people that watch this, I don't like to use the word gang, but, street organizations, they may come from that. So how can I get that same level of protection and confidence when I'm joining the Nation of Islam and leaving a street organization?
We have this great and divine man. Yeah. We have three of them. We have Master Fard Muhammad, Allah in person, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we have the Messiah in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. If you add up all the years that those brothers, those divine men, have been in the streets, it outweighs any street organization, any government that you can think of. Because with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, when he goes to LA, you never hear somebody trying to attack the FOI in LA. When the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was in Chicago, you never heard of a Al Capone trying to get the honorable Elijah Muhammad. So to think about it, if you go in those bad areas, like when we go to Chicago for Savior's Day, this past Savior's Day, there was no GD, no Vice Lord coming to try to shoot up the Muslims. And we're on that side of Chicago. So just to know that, man, these men have done the work in the 80s, the 90s, the 60s for us to even say Assalamu alaikum in person. We rarely get harassed by police, because if you look at the research, man, back then, mosques used to be raided. They used to try to hang our brothers. That's one of the reasons that we go bow tie. They tried to hang one of our ministers in Louisiana from a straight tie. So with the police, we've been there, done that. you know, and that's the reason that you have protection from Allah himself when you learn that Allah is a man, a living man, and that you are backed by the three. The minister guaranteed that now we're backed by three: Allah, Elijah, and Farrakhan. It's all the confidence you need. You really only needed Allah. If Allah tells you, if I am with you, who can be against you? That's
Yes, sir.
all the confidence you need, brother.
Yes, sir. Now, how do you feel about, and excuse my language, people watching this and they say, who's this bow tie wearing nigga? Or they see the brothers with the final calls and they say, them paper boys or them bean pie brothers. What do you feel about that?
I dismiss it, man. I laugh at it, brother.
Mhm.
Because in truth, we are bow tie wearing brothers. We're not niggas. They have to change the language. But I don't feel any anger towards it, because that's my brother. That's like me being angry at God. When you see a black man, you're looking at God. Why would I be angry at a person who doesn't know who they are?
Mhm. Coming into the Nation of Islam, what did you learn about who you are? Because we hear the brothers talk about knowledge of self. What is the knowledge of self that you get, or that you had, that you was brought to when you accepted the teachings?
The knowledge that I was brought into coming into the nation was that, the black man is God. I had never heard of that except listening to a Wu-Tang song.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought it was real. I just always thought ODB was crazy. But when I heard that, it made me wonder, how could we be God? And when you actually run into a brother who could break down how we are God, how we outlive Earth itself, how we outlive the sun, when you hear that, that brings you to awe. You're like, whoa, this a different kind of situation I'm in, man. So it's like that, plus a brother broke it down that the actual facts that we are taught is the deed to the earth. I'm literally receiving the deed to the earth, meaning I own the earth. When you receive a deed to something, you have ownership over that thing, So if the actual facts are the deed to the earth, then man, what better knowledge is it? And when you consistently are learning more and more about your home, there's no other knowledge that's better than knowing where you live, brother.
Yes, sir. How do you feel about, how do you feel about people saying the minister is, too old to be out here teaching? And, when people share the lectures and stuff and they say that this is old, so why is this relevant to me? What do you feel about that?
Okay. For the people who say that, I have 3 questions. Are we free? Are we still being brutally beaten and slaughtered by officers? Do we have economic gain? We have the most money and we never spend it in our community. The minister did a lecture in Atlanta called Add It Up, where he literally went in on everything that was going on. I just watched a lecture from the minister in 1972, where we have all the crystal lovers, the astrologists. None of that is who you are. So for this man to be old, too old to teach, my other question is, when you are around your grandparents, you search for that wisdom. You want to know, what have your grandparents been through in their lives? This is our father. When you're around your father, man, father, how were you when you were younger? Because I want to know if I'm like you. right? So for this man to willingly teach us what he had to go through, teach us how he became the minister, teach us how his teacher taught him, because his teacher is all of our teacher. Anybody that they ever looked up to first had our teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who learned from Allah himself. So to answer the question, what do I feel when people say the minister is too old? The minister is like talking to our Father. You know, you want to learn that knowledge. You want to know, you got to know the past to know your future.
Mm.
That's what I think about that. You have to know your past to know your future.
Yes, sir. Okay, like you just said, you know that we know the minister has been going in. Well, you know, the Nation of Islam and the minister, they go in about the economic situation of the Black community. They go in about, you know, the slavery and the teachings and the slave names that we have. But what exactly, since you're registered, what exactly do you see the Nation of Islam actually doing about the things that they talk about?
Well, for one, we have Brother Farrakhan, Brother Ben X, we have Brother Patrick here in Atlanta, all getting land. We also have Brother Jake Taylor, Brother Derek Grace, and also Brother Ben X, teaching us about wealth, and 19 Keys, teaching us about the crypto. You know, we have all of these brothers trying to better their people. And you have the Fruit of Islam, who has been around more than 92 years, protecting our community, making sure that we are keeping the knowledge of self universal, so that our children's children will know the knowledge of who they are. Brothers don't just go out here and speak about financial gain and economic gain and educational. We have stars in the Nation of Islam who are backed by doctors. Brother Reza Islam just did a conference about vaccines, backed by doctors. You know, Brother Wesley, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, major scholar, backed by Allah, man, backed by the minister. The minister would not waste the teachings on anybody. You can't waste it. You never know who you are giving this to. So for the people, what I feel about people saying, well, what is the nation doing? The nation is doing a lot. The minister told us July 4th, 2020, how bad this thing would get. He told us about the vaccine before a vaccine was even developed. He told us it would be 2, 3, 4, 5 vaccines, boosters. You know, he told us about the famine that is bound to come. And now you've been hearing about it. So for people to say, what are we doing? We're feeding you knowledge. We're feeding you wisdom. We're making you understand what is going on in the time in which we are in.
Yes, sir. Well, what were you just talking about knowledge and everything? Some people watching this may ask, you know, why do I need knowledge? You know, I'm good where I'm at. What's the point of getting knowledge? You know, what would you say to people who have that mentality?
Well, I would say my Papa Steve Muhammad told me this one time. He said, anything that stands still, that isn't evolving, is dead. Anything that stands still, that isn't evolving, is dead. If the earth was to stop moving right now, it'll be a matter of time before the earth is swept out. Everyone on earth dead, water dry, you know. So your mind is literally the core of the earth.
Yes, sir.
Because when you're growing your mind with knowledge, it's a sponge. It soaks up anything. When you learn that 2 + 2 is 4, you're like, whoa, I didn't know that. When you learn that the Nation of Islam is 92 years old, you're like, whoa, I didn't know that. You know, so when you learn something new, it makes you go towards it. You go toward knowledge, you know, because knowledge is the best thing to have on this earth. If you didn't have knowledge about the Nation of Islam, you would not have knowledge about Minister Farrakhan. You would not have knowledge of yourself. You would not have knowledge of Malcolm X had it not been for reading about knowledge or having knowledge or seeking knowledge.
Yes, sir. Now, when you first heard, the minister has said it, you hear a lot of the students of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the white man is the devil. Now, when you first heard that, how come you didn't strike in your mind, this is a hate group? This is hate speech. How come that didn't strike in your mind?
Because I'd heard it before.
Yes, sir.
My great-grandmother, her parents were slaves. So she used to tell, I heard her say one time, this white man is a real devil. So it hadn't been the first time that I heard it. Had it been the first time I heard it, because don't get me wrong. I said, wait a minute, man. I have white friends. So when I heard that, I'm like, man, I may have to cut these people off because I can't be their friend if they the devil and I'm seeking for God. But the reason I didn't believe that it was a hate group is because I had heard it before.
Yes, sir. Now, is that hate, just standing outside of your life? Do you believe that's hate? That's hate speech?
No.
Or is it justified?
It's justified, man.
How is it justified?
It's completely justified. If you go back, the minister taught us about the 64 years that they took to make a slave. So if you go from 1555 to the time in which the minister joined the Nation of Islam, that's 400 years. We had been in bondage 400 years before that, being beaten, whipped, the whole nine, raped, the whole nine. A man could rape another man in front of his wife to let him know, to let their wife know that this man has no dominance. You can take someone's child from their hands to let them know, this isn't your child, this is my property. You can burn a man's flesh in front of a crowd of people and feel no remorse. You could hang a human being and smile in a picture with no remorse. So I say that because this white man has had no remorse, no heart, no emotion for the Black man in America. How can I say that the white man is the devil is hate speech when they literally deemed us 3/5 of a person? How could I ever say that, oh yeah, that's hate speech, I'm not going to join on to that, when we've seen what they've done and it's happened to our parents and our forefathers?
Yeah. Now, some people watching this may say, well, that's all in the past. That's all in the past. That happened a long time ago. What would you have to say to that?
George Floyd died literally 2 years ago. A man a white police officer sat on a Black man's neck for I don't even know how long. I believe 5 minutes. Right? That's 2 years ago. Now, a literal military veteran was shot and killed by another veteran who probably they served together. Maybe, I believe, 2020 or 2021. So to say that is the past, what do you call that? What do you call being beaten, shot, pepper sprayed, tear gassed? What do you call that? I call that being shot at by fire hose, sick dogs on, and literally beaten senseless with a nightstick. That is all the same to me. And that's been less than 5 years ago.
Yes, sir. You see, you just mentioned all the brutality. That's actual facts of what, white people have done to our people for, I don't know how long since they've been on this planet. What solution do you see that the Nation of Islam brings to that brutality that's happening to our people?
The solution we bring, honestly, we would have to go out as we've been doing and teach our people and draw them in. Black people have thick skulls, man. And if we were to just try it, there's many things going on. My grandfather has had a class of martial arts going on for over a year. And only the people he knows come out. And we've invited people over and over and over, strangers, So we will have to literally go out and take our people from this devil, because this devil has a hold on the Black mind so strong that even if we were to have a public FOI class, a public MGT class, a public martial arts class, you will hear them, and excuse my language, nigga, I ain't going to that. Man, I got this party Saturday. What I look like going to an MGT class on Saturday? Nigga, what I look like going to an FOI class on a Monday night? I gotta work. I work 12 hours. So literally, we would have to take our people away from this devil, man.
Yes, sir. What would you have to say to people that say, well, I ain't never seen them bow ties and bean pies at the Black Lives Matter protests. I ain't never seen y'all, at the Eric Gardner protest, at the Trayvon Martin protest. What would you have to say about that?
For one, protesting. We believe in going to our community and going to your door and getting you out that mud, rather than running away from tear gas with you when we can save you from that brutality. Why would I go out where hundreds of people are to be tear gassed, stunned, beaten, when I could meet you at your door? And if you let me in, I could give you a word that could change your life before anything like that happens to you, before you have to go to another Black Lives Matter. If they will open their door and just hear the word that was taught to us by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, then maybe we could save multiple lives from being taken by senseless brutality.
Yes, sir. Now, we spoke a lot about the senseless brutality that white people have inflicted on our people. Now, does that mean that the Nation of Islam teaches that we need to kill all white people, that they just need to be wiped off our planet? You being in the FOI class, is that the type of mentality that you see that you're learning when you're in your FOI class?
No, sir. I'm not learning to kill all white people. Actually, I'm learning to study them because they are successful in what they do. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, study the enemy because he's successful. So no, I'm not learning to kill all white people.
Yes,
but
sir.
The minister said, when we die and they die, then soon we'll have a talk about this, because when we die and we start killing them, then it'll be an ongoing war.
Yes, sir. Is there any benefits from white people listening to lectures from the minister or lectures from the other student ministers? Is there any benefits white people can get from getting something out of the teachings?
Benefits for white people. First of all, we have had white people close to the Nation of Islam who have been in different sectors that get their teaching directly from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's students. So, of course, you have white people who know their actual facts. You have white people that know their student enrollment. But the benefits that you can get from lectures by the Nation of Islam's different student ministers and even the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is divine wisdom. Wisdom is for everybody. You know, we don't just teach that the black man is this, black man is that, black man need to do this, black man need to do that. No, we want peace. That's it. We want peace on this earth, and we want a piece of the earth. So the benefits is learning how to further get a piece of the earth and have peace on earth.
Yes, sir. Now, why learn from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? He doesn't have a master's degree. He doesn't have a doctorate degree. Why learn from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? He does not have a master's degree, a doctorate degree. Shoot, he doesn't even have a high school diploma. So why learn from these people when they don't even have, diplomas or degrees from well-known and respected institutions?
Why learn from them is the question. Because you see their works. You see what they are doing in their own communities. You see what they are saying in public. You see what the press say about them, how they try to just straight destroy the reputation of both the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So what I mean by that, in Elijah Muhammad's 44 years, he was raided by the FBI for teaching about UFOs. At one point in time, he was arrested for teaching about UFOs, in which they raided his office. You know why? Because at the time, he was the only person that knew the knowledge of UFOs, as they would call it. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was one of the only ones teaching about how many vaccines that would be distributed. Not even just COVID. He's taught about the HIV, AIDS. He's taught about all of it. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us how to eat to live before anybody. Everyone always points to Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi is our brother. He learned from our teacher because that is his teacher. He has his information from the information that we have in the words of a messenger, this little book called How to Eat to Live. So I say that, why learn from them? They're literally putting the proof in the pudding, and they have not been proven wrong once.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't want to hold you up too long, so I'm just going to ask a few more questions.
Oh, brother, I have all the time in the world.
I appreciate it. I'm honored. I've heard this a lot, just being out, especially soldiering with the brothers. You hear a lot of people say, man, I stick with Jesus. I'm sticking with Jesus, but thank you. What would you say what's your message to Christians out there who may not even want to listen or give the teachings a chance because they are, very dedicated to Christianity? What would you have to say to them?
Well, for one, Muslims believe in Jesus as well. In fact, Muslims in the Nation of Islam, we mostly teach from both Quran and Bible. So we're getting both parts of Jesus who they claim to believe in, you know. So when they are saying that I'm going to stick with Christianity, that's fine. That doesn't mean you can't come out and listen, because I guarantee you, before you leave the mosque, you will hear a Bible verse or two, or maybe three. So to the Christians, we are still your brothers. We still have your sisters. We still have sisters that are your sisters. You know, we are your nation, whether you are Christian, Jew, Hindu, anything. We are still your brothers and sisters, you know.
Yes, sir. What would you say to, we have a lot of our young brothers. What would you say to the young brothers that's listening to this and they say, they got their hand on their ears. They're saying, I still want to play. I don't want to get serious with these teachings. I don't really want to listen to it because I still want to play, man. I got some partying to do. We're young and you're only going to die once. So what's the purpose of joining the nation? I'm young, I need to have fun. So what's the purpose of joining the Nation of Islam so young?
I had that issue. I got to give it to you, man. I had that issue.
Me too.
Going through my processing class, man. Like, imagine a 19-year-old fresh out of college hearing that he can't drink anymore. He can't party anymore. No fornication, no adultery. That's literally all your teenage years right there. So hearing that as a young person, do not let that discourage you from receiving knowledge that you can use for the rest of your life. Because I guarantee you, that bottle of Hennessy, that blunt will be gone by the end of the night. And guess what? When you wake up, you will feel it no more but a headache. You will feel it no more but hunger, So why not be hungry for knowledge that you can use later on in your life, that you can teach your children and their children and their children? Why not give something new a chance? You see your parents party. You see your older siblings, if you have them, party. You see your cousins party. So why not try that new thing, knowledge, to where they can see you. And instead of you attracting to them, they're attracting to their little brother. They're seeking knowledge from their little brother. Why not? Why not switch the roles?
Yes, sir. Now, this is my last question I have. What would you say to people who are thinking about registering into the Nation of Islam or even in the mode of processing? What advice would you give them personally to those watching right now?
Man, if you are thinking about joining the process of the Nation of Islam, please do so. It is literally one of the best choices that you can make. And I'm not saying that because I'm in the Nation of Islam. I was saying that before I was processing, because you see the uniform. You see what it's doing to drug dealers, pimps, prostitutes, strippers, number runners, hustlers, preachers. You see what it's doing to them. You see a different glow on them. You see a different mindset in them. So through that processing class, you get that same mind that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan got from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was taught by Allah God himself, Master Fard Muhammad. Why not align yourself with something so powerful that it has never died off? Why not have that universal knowledge? Because if you think about it, any group that you have ever dreamed of joining or ever studied got their wisdom from the Nation of Islam. If you thought about the Black Panthers, their 10-point program comes from our program. If you thought about the 5% Nation of Islam, their supreme wisdom came from our supreme wisdom. Their leader was an FOI. We have sisters who have ran the nation. Mother Clara Muhammad, Sister Tynetta, great speaker, unveiled the number 19. We have Sister Minister Ava, who is still going strong. We have so many stars. Don't hold yourself back from becoming a star, because if you hold yourself back from that thing, and even as a young person, you see that most of this behavior is destructive. You see that sometimes you just get too drunk. You can't get up off the floor. Somebody has to drag you. You get too high. You can't even get up off the couch. Somebody have to shake you and wake you out of that slumber. Why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to have full control over your life? So to anybody want to join the Nation of Islam, do so. It is, in this time, it is where you will get the most of your knowledge, and you can see through the false knowledge.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much. I'm honored and humbled to be able to speak with you and that you gave us your time.
I'm humbled, man.
So I just want to pray to you that Allah continues to bless and protect you and your family. And just want to say salam alaikum. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. One love, black man.
Yes, sir.